Welcome to the 9-Minute True Story, where we share emotional and dramatic real-life stories that touch your heart and reveal the unexpected twists of life. Stay with us to explore the depths of human emotions in just 9 minutes. A hidden past and a new beginning. The air was sharp that winter afternoon, with icy winds slicing through the small Pennsylvania town. Lily Johnson, a 20-year-old college student, wrapped her scarf tighter around her neck as she made her way home from class. The streets were mostly deserted, except for the occasional rustle of bare branches and the crunch of snow under her boots. Lily lived in a modest working-class neighborhood on the edge of town. The houses were lined up in neat rows, their faded paint and sagging porches telling stories of years gone by. Though life here was quiet, it wasn't without its struggles. Her father, David Johnson, had always worked hard to provide for them, but since her mother's passing 13 years ago, something had shifted. Their home was quieter now, functional but devoid of warmth. As Lily crossed through the park, she noticed something unusual near one of the benches: a battered leather wallet lying abandoned in the snow. Curious, she bent down and picked it up, brushing off the frost. The wallet was old, its edges cracked from years of use. She flipped it open and found a small stash of crumpled bills, a Pennsylvania driver's license, a neatly folded handkerchief embroidered with white daisies, and a faded photograph. When Lily pulled out the photo, her breath caught in her throat. Her hands trembled as she stared at the image: a young woman in a white dress, with dark, cascading hair and a smile so gentle it brought tears to Lily's eyes. It was her mother, Emily. The memory of Emily. Lily hadn't seen that smile in over a decade. Her mother had passed away in a car accident when Lily was only 7, leaving behind an emptiness that nothing could fill. As Lily held the photo, memories she had buried deep began to surface. Emily had been the kind of mother who brought warmth to every corner of their small home. She worked as an accountant at a local firm, balancing the books for small businesses and always making time for Lily. Her father, David, had been a man of few words but as steady as a rock, running a local transportation business. Together, they had been a picture of stability until the day of the accident. It was Lily's 7th birthday when tragedy struck. Emily had gone out to pick up a cake for the celebration, but never made it home. A distracted driver ran a red light, and in an instant, everything changed. For years, Lily clung to the handkerchief her mother had given her that morning, embroidered with delicate white daisies. "Lily," Emily had said, tucking the gift into her daughter's small hands, "always keep this with you. It will remind you that no matter what, I'm always by your side." And now, staring at the handkerchief in this stranger's wallet, Lily felt as though the universe had opened a door she wasn't ready to walk through. Why was a stranger carrying a photo of her mother? And why did he have a handkerchief identical to the one her mother had given her? The name that changed everything. Lily flipped to the driver's license. The name read James Carter, and the address was a modest one in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. The man in the ID was older, with a kind but weathered face, as though life had worn him down but couldn't extinguish his spirit. She slipped the wallet into her backpack, her mind racing with questions. Who was James Carter, and how did he know her mother? When Lily got home, her father was sitting at the kitchen table reading the local paper. "Dad," she began cautiously, setting down her backpack, "did Mom ever mention someone named James Carter?" David froze, his fingers tightening around the paper. His eyes flicked up to meet hers, and for a moment, something flickered there, something Lily couldn't quite place. "No," he said too quickly, shaking his head. "I don't think so." "Why?" "Just something I came across," Lily replied, deciding not to press him further. But as her father turned back to his paper, she couldn't shake the feeling that he wasn't telling her the truth. A restless night. That night, Lily lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Her father's reaction had been estranged, almost defensive. And the photo haunted her. It had to mean something. Sleep wouldn't come, so Lily made a decision. The next morning, she would drive to Lancaster and find James Carter. She had to know the truth. Meanwhile, downstairs, David sat alone in the dimly lit living room, a photo of Emily in his hands. The name James Carter brought back memories he had tried to bury. Before Emily had met David, she had been close to James, a man she'd met in college. Their relationship had been serious enough that David, even years later, felt like a second choice. Emily had assured him that her past with James was over, that she had chosen David and wanted to build a life with him. And for years, David had believed her. But now, the resurfacing of James Carter's name filled him with unease. What did this man want after all these years? The meeting. The drive to Lancaster took just under an hour. Lily parked her car in front of a modest 2-story house with a neatly trimmed lawn. Her heart pounded as she climbed the steps and knocked on the door. When the door opened, she was met with a man in his late 60s. His gray hair was neatly combed, and his eyes, though tired, held a warmth that immediately put Lily at ease. "Can I help you?" he asked. "Are you James Carter?" Lily asked, her voice steady, but her heart racing. "I am," he said cautiously. "And you are?" "My name is Lily Johnson. I think I found something that belongs to you." She pulled out the wallet and handed it to him. James's eyes widened as he opened the wallet and saw the contents. His gaze lingered on the photo, and a mixture of emotions washed over his face: surprise, sadness, and something Lily couldn't quite identify. "Where did you find this?" he asked softly. "In the park," she replied. "But that's not why I'm here. That woman in the photo, that's my mom." James stared at her, the words sinking in. His hand trembled slightly as he set the wallet down on a nearby table. "Your mother was Emily?" he whispered. "Yes," Lily said, her voice barely audible. "How did you know her?" James gestured for her to sit down. As they settled into the living room, he began to tell his story. He spoke of meeting Emily in college, of how they had fallen deeply in love but ultimately gone their separate ways. He described her as kind, intelligent, and full of life, a woman who had changed him forever. "She was the love of my life," James admitted, his voice thick with emotion. "But life doesn't always go the way we want it to. She chose your father, and I respected that. I moved away and tried to start over, but I never stopped loving her." A new understanding. Over the next few weeks, Lily pieced together the fragments of her mother's life she had never known. When she confronted her father again, David finally admitted the truth about Emily's relationship with James. "I was jealous," David confessed. "I always felt like I had to compete with a ghost, even after she chose me. But she loved you, Lily. You were her everything." Though the revelations were painful, they also brought healing. Lily began visiting James regularly, finding comfort in the stories he shared about her mother. For James, reconnecting with Lily was like rediscovering a part of Emily he thought he had lost forever. And though the past couldn't be changed, Lily realized it didn't have to define her future. Her mother's story, filled with love and sacrifice, was one she would carry forward, not as a burden, but as a reminder to cherish the people in her life and the choices she made.